Why does God allow suffering? I can say it this way. I wouldn't understand the breadth of who he is if I didn't understand the suffering of Christ. I could not understand the love that God has for me if I don't understand the suffering of his son. So why does he allow suffering? So we can understand love. Like what happened in Houston when the natural disaster happened. 90-something% of the groups that went out there were Christian organizations. You know what happened? We all banded together. We came together in Dayton. I have some friends out in that area, right? Now they're getting people together and they're coming together in the places, all these things, right? We're learning to love through suffering. That's what suffering brings unity in a lot of ways. Sometimes when you see a suffering person, even Jesus said, the poor you'll always have with you. Take care of them. He's teaching you to love because suffering exists. Guys, you can't get rid of suffering. You can't. You can't. You ever lift weights when you haven't done it in 20 years? You suffer. It hurts. But you know what? You fight through it because you know at the end you're going to be better for it. So how come we'll allow it in physical pain when we're doing it to ourselves? Well, we won't see the suffering that happens in the world as something to grow us, and in the end we'll be better for it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's all these things that God doesn't necessarily allow the suffering. He allows us to make the choice. When we make the choice, like all those people, listen, did God make that kid shoot up the school? Kid chose it. Who did he disobey? Not only the laws of nature, which are natural law, which is civil law, the laws of God.
Yeah.
So whose fault? Was it God? Again, you're blaming the designer, not, I'm sorry, you're blaming the designer instead of the one who's in charge of the design. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people will argue that well, he could have stopped it and he could have saved all those lives. Yes, he very well could have. The problem is, where do you draw that line? Because we always do it by case basis. Okay, we always say, oh, God could have stopped this, and he could have stopped that, and he could have stopped that, and he could have stopped that, and could have stopped that, blah blah blah. At some point, if he stops all of it, then he's stopped consequence from choices.
That's right.
Each person has consequence for their choices.
Bingo.
Every single individual. And the sad real fact is, in a fallen world, in a sinful world, your consequences may affect other people.
Bingo.
And we really push against that. We really kind of chafe against that idea because, like, well, how dare their consequences affect me? I'm sorry, but we as human beings are cursed under sin. We as human beings, and every day, at some point, we tend to make a choice against God.
Oh, yeah.
The grace of God is to mitigate the destruction that does to the degree it
Bingo.
does.